This is ML of The First, The Last, The Nerdum. I am one half of it. Thomas is the other half. Periodically, we'll come on here, we'll jump on, and we'll make whatever kind of videos we want. If there's something exciting that comes across the home plate, and we want to talk about it or kind of put it out there to the audience. I'm going to give this a title of theory, spoiler theory for Pluribus. I let Tom know to not watch this video until he is caught up with the latest episode, which we are at. We completed episode 5 this week. Also, a shout out to Film Paradise. He is an up and coming channel that I have found that I kind of fell into when I've been covering and watching and researching and getting into this Pluribus wonderful franchise that we're this wonderful story, this wonderful universe that is Pluribus. So unique and very, very fun. With that being said, this is going out on Thanksgiving Day. So I was just relaxing and having fun with the family, enjoying my plate of turkey and stuffing and all the wonderful things. And even, yes, a little bit of wine. And I started to go down this path and watch some of the catch-up, entertainment videos that I have lined up for, or that I picked up along the way for Pluribus. One of this is that Film Paradise. Anyway, this is the fun part about being a fan. So we're about 2 minutes in there. So after this point, I'm going to get very spoilery about Pluribus. So before I get too crazy, let me be fair and go in and at least change the title. I should have come in to this a little bit better prepared than I am, but that's okay. Welcome to our live show. That's funny. While I'm doing that, and I'm gonna tee us up here to go forward. I just want to change. I gotta change this. I gotta change the title, and I'll worry about the thumbnail later. Theory. What are you? Theory. Episode 5. Pluribus. Apple TV. 2025. Giving Day. Hang out. All right, we'll leave that there. And I need to do this. Well, this isn't very entertaining, but that's okay. This is the real world here. Pluribus. Apple TV. Yeah, and then I'm gonna set the stage, and I'm gonna set the stage and really dive into it, and just kind of include some background links that are really cool, just cool. All right, there we go. Just takes forever to line up sources if you've got. I obviously didn't come prepared here. I was just sitting down and we were talking about it, and I was like, oh my god, I have this one thought that I wanted to share. Unfortunately, I could share it with some of my family, but they're not all dialed in like I am because I'm a nerd. So they need to catch up. So I don't want to be that spoiling presence with them. And to see, and I am just gonna, I'm gonna go into this knowing I'm gonna kind of go into this a little bit naked on details because I can't explain every little thing. But I will say that. I gotta put our bona fides here. Shame on me for not having this stuff ready. But anyway, might as well put one in there. At least I can give the. Surely I can give the universe. Oh, you know what? I gotta cut up. I gotta cut out the Thanksgiving Day thing. That's not important. Okay. And we'll just do. Nobody cares that it's 2025. Sorry about that, guys. All right, cool. Now I've got it corrected. All right, so we're at 5 minutes. Good grief. I just blew 2 minutes. Anyway, what is this about? I'm ML, the first to last nerdum. I am one half of the wonderful duo that is the first to last nerdum, or first last nerdum, as Tom so eloquently was able to boil it down for our thing. Anyway, purpose of this video, who I am, what this is about. So I was just thinking, I got into the Thanksgiving Day mode. I just finished up my first plate, one of many, and I had my wine, and I was just sitting there, and I was talking with a really good family member, and I was just going over like what the theories could be and what this is and that. And then I had a friend interject, who is a little bit more. Unfortunately, though, they're not quite there. But the one friend that made an observation, I kind of took away a point after I saw this other video about it. So where we're at. So in Pluribus, it's a alien virus that humans stupidly made from instructions that were sent from 600 light years away, or whatever the hell it was. Humans, being the curious raccoons that we are, typically in these science fiction stories across the board, humans like to look at ourselves like, I like to call it my raccoon theory, where if you don't treat humanity with a little bit element of respect, we find a way to kind of survive and come back and ultimately be a nuisance or your undoing. And that's kind of the thing. Now on this, there is no global empire or this or that. It's much more simplified than that. In Pluribus, you have this virus that essentially turned off all individuality across the world. People have now become a hive mind, assuming the transmission way, assuming that there's some kind of a shared biological connection that we're not quite sure how they can share all this amongst each other. But there's some kind of shared network communication that's unseen that implies that there's a interconnected hive mind that's practically instantaneous, as we have seen across the show. We've also learned that there are about 13 other people that the virus, the thing didn't quite take, and they're just the same old normal individual humans. However, we're kind of seeing the rules and the world building for this whole thing, and some of that seems to be yet to be confirmed, because that's the beautiful part. Good science fiction, good storytelling, never mind science fiction or the genre, will always bait you, or they'll always give you a little bit of a taste, but never confirm it and kind of leave it in that gray zone. Although over time, that kind of wears thin, and there are some floors and ceilings, so to speak, and walls that have to keep the thing up. Otherwise, people will move on down the line. But Vince Gilligan has masterfully created this wonderful, wonderful science fiction creation. Anyway, so going back to the thing. So the bounds, the floor, the ceiling, the walls, or whatever, the rules for this interaction is you have this Carol. She is a mid-aged woman who her wife was killed. Her wife was killed before her eyes. The night of the joining, that's when the hive mind decided that they had no more time left, and they had to go and essentially captured 100% captured humanity, only with mere 900 million casualties. So 10% of the world is no more because of this thing. Anyway, we're seeing this push and pull. She's not the only one. So the other individuals are from different countries, completely different perspectives than like the standard one. So it's a worldwide thing. So they have their own personal views, and some of their family did not die. Some of them did. But for other reasons or whatever. But they seem to be somewhat content when they eventually, in the series of 5 episodes, we've seen a worldwide council to like where they all kind of got together, and except for one person who is even more isolated and refusing to go with the flow than Carol. Carol is she's obviously on one side of humanity. She wants to bring individual humanity back. She wants to bring the old world back. She actively rejects this new world that she's in. The other survivors don't seem to have the hardcore opinion that she has. They're a little bit more on the softer side of, they don't really care how this is. They just have what's in front of them, and they're content with that for now. Although Carol was very successful when everybody was around, of poking in and placing seeds of doubt, much where it needed to be for these people to go back and wrestle on their own time and their own thing, because she's not going to get the help. She's very abrasive and direct, and she is a force of nature in a way when she comes in. And we know this because she's increasingly treated as a force of nature because there's some kind of dynamic, and we're not aware of whether the other survivors, the other individual humans, have this ability or have this interaction with the hive mind. The hive mind is very it is totally a soft, warm. It will smother you and put you and kill you in your sleep kind of type evil that we're working with here. So that's just kind of it's very very benign, very very low under the surface. Doesn't lie that we know of for sure yet. Although I don't think that's 100% true. Biological systems can always find a way to hide the truth or hide a reality that they don't want you to see or whatever. And we know this because of the normal or excuse me, predator prey relationship in the natural world. So they're bullshit. The hive can't lie. I reject that. That's what Carol thinks is going on. So you just can't. This is the other thing too. Well, these ideas they come from the show or the characters, or they're implied or explicit. Some of these things that I'm touching on are implied. But anyway, I was just thinking. So, and I have no idea what Carol saw at the end of episode 5. Why that's a big deal, or it's a big deal today, right now, which gets people hooked and on the edge of their seat for more, as if episode 4 didn't already do that. This just pushed it even more front and center than it was before. So it makes you more engaged and wanting to go into the storyline. But with that being said, I lost track of my main point here. With Carol and the rules, so the emphasis has been on what did she see? What did she see? What was her reaction? Because her reaction was absolute horror, revulsion, and fade to black. That's it. Are the dead bodies? Is this a soylent green thing? Is this a that thing or whatever? I don't know. I have no idea. And good for them for doing that classic trick. I have no idea what she saw. But it got me thinking. Something I see these deep lore explained, Pluribus explained videos not going into. What if, and this is the kicker here. Okay, so we understand the power balance here. It looks on balance, it looks like the individuals hold zero power whatsoever. However, the hive looks like the hive is like all consuming. It's all consuming. It's worldwide. How would you ever defeat this? Nobody knows. I don't necessarily have answers for that, but I do have some thoughts to put into the mix for people to think. So we know the extent of the hive. Another significant thing that has been talked about, but I think that it's not getting. I don't think that the reasonality or the rationality behind it is definitely there's surface point blank things that make sense. In the course of these interaction between Carol and the hive mind, she had an avatar, a point of contact, a liaison, so to speak. This liaison was picked point blank by purpose, very manipulatively, to look and appeal to Carol, to her sensibilities, to her levels of what she finds attractive, to her levels of not just disregarding things. Carol is a lesbian. Carol was married. So the hive is going to do every little, like, I wouldn't say dirty trick, but it's going to be openly manipulative, and it will tell you that it's doing this too. And Carol has kind of had points of like direct, sharp interaction and interrogation between her, interrogatives between Carol and the hive mind for her to get to figure out what's what. Zoasia or Zoroaster, yeah, Zoasia. I'm not pronouncing that right, but anyway, so Carol kind of sort of has not I wouldn't say romantic feelings, but she has some kind of a draw that she does care. And Carol is an asshole to a certain degree, but she is still very much a human and she does care. And we know this, so she's not just like some permanently selfish, turned off asshole who just doesn't give a fuck, like that. We haven't really truly seen that per se. We've just seen when people are pushed to the extremes so far. And you can't really gauge somebody too much on those interactions because some stick, some count. But anyway, some kind of way Carol cared about this woman. And unfortunately, she had an interaction. I'm not going to go through the whole details, but it started with this and that. And every one of these interactions, the hive has essentially been hurt, or the avatar has also been non-trivially hurt in a physical way, not just emotionally, but also emotionally too. I think that Carol has absolutely inflicted emotional abuse or damage, whatever it is, psychic damage. I don't know. But when we talk about that, we're actually going from the land of what if words have a physical touch or a physical reaction that is much more concrete and has much more gravity than our reality. Let's just put it that way. So, in other words, like a word that you say, if you launch it at somebody, it would do physical damage to them. Like, think of it like that. Crude analogy to kind of bring us up to this point to where I want to get us. Anyway, so she has this character with Z, and she has affinity for her of some kind, not necessarily romantic, but it's all twisted up into this thing. And she gives her sodium pentothal, truth serum, essentially, whatever. It's just, so. And this is her trying to get this information from Z in the hospital. Carol doesn't necessarily pick her moments. There's a saying that there's no such thing as a good time for bad news. Well, every time Carol comes around, there's bad news. Let's just put it this way, as far as the hive is concerned. Because of this interaction, it further destabilizes Z's health and puts her in more risk and danger. Although it's told to us by the hive mind when they wait for Carol to just be tuckered out. They're totally handling her like a toddler. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny, insulting, and grounded, and called for and uncalled for all at the same time, which is just interesting across the whole dynamics. I won't get into those layers, but I will say this. The cool part about this is, like, what if? So we know that. So anyway, the point of that whole interaction there was that essentially the hive mind realized, shit, this person is radioactive. Carol is radioactive. Carol is radiation that is she's just whipping off X-rays and gamma rays and all this stuff is just toxic to be around for long-term time. They didn't know that. Nobody knew nothing, but they know that now. So appropriately, they have taken countermeasures to putting distance, time, and space between her. They abandon the entire town that they're in. They go off somewhere else. They put Carolyn off on a leash. They hold her off on a leash for a while, and they say, listen, we still love you. We still care about you. We still will take care of you, but we're not going to do this. We're not going to do anything real-time interaction. So that means that this schema has been any phone that's been around Carol that rings, she picks it up and it's them, because it's all them. And sometimes they'll patch in somebody from another country, and then they'll have interaction from the other people across the thing. But anyway, the price the hive is paying having to deal with Carol is every time Carol gets really angry or very emotive, to the point to like where her rationality, her reasonability is punctured, and she no longer has control per se, and she's flowing in that 100% human emotion, either reaction combined with stacked up stress and everything else that's going on in her world. God knows what she's seen that we haven't seen there. So this is a very traumatic thing on top of the world just being completely different. Carolyn understandably reacts to these things, especially the things that are being fed to her. Carolyn is absolutely excused for just about every course of action she's taken up to this point, because so would you. This is so extreme that you're at the edge of the world. When you're so far down a hole, or you're so far gone in a certain situation, like where just everything is upside down, irrationality, believe it or not, and this is what I love about these genres, and not just but you see this more in horror sometimes too, but definitely in science fiction to kind of set a tale to be told. You invite to, like, where things are so over against you, what does it matter? to a certain level, that opens up. That's why you would have rebellions and fight against the big empire or whatever, like where irrationality becomes rational as a stepstone for action. Let's put it that way. That opens up that door. That's absolutely logical. So you have to give Carolyn a little bit of grace here, but anyway, the question I see nobody talking about is, why did the hive leave? Okay. there's some implications there to me. So that means that, okay, so I already know that the hive is in control. I already know that. We already know that. We already know that Carolyn has some kind of effect, and presumably, we haven't confirmed this, but presumably, it's either Carol, that thing with Carol and the emotions and the way, whenever she has those emotions that come out, they just destroy the immediate area of the hive. They disrupt the communication. They disrupt it to a point to like where people just kind of, everyone's seen the computer with the spinny disc or the pinwheel or the thing, like where the computer's like, and it has to kind of catch up. That's what happens in real time. That happens over time, and then they kind of just go out, like the fucking lights go out, and they stop, and they have to process or regain their composure. That happens, and they've done that. They've done that there's been many strikes like that Carolyn has made, not necessarily intentionally, but she's also understanding the rules, so she's very aware of this, of like, I'm going to get really fucking angry if you don't do what I say. She's using it as a weapon, as she should, as a weapon, as a tool. Hope she uses it more as a tool than just a weapon, because that's going to be how well you articulate that is going to determine and set the stakes for later. Although I don't know nothing, nobody knows nothing but what we see. But my question is, what if time and space is not the defining limitation on Carolyn? Why would it be? The thing is like the thing is that unless they kill Carol, like, or they put her in a coma, or keep her alive, or not cause harm to her, like that would kill her, and they have said that they're incapable of killing. I don't believe that either. That's a lie. Killing by action or direct action is just the thing. And they even say there's some loopholes and things that they're going to have to square off a little bit later on, or kind of get around. You don't kill anything. Then how are you going to eat plants? Okay, yeah, right, whatever. Sure. Anyway, this is just the fun part about this thing that encourages the fans and whatnot. Anyway, I'm going on a little bit long, but the point I wanted to make is, what if? Who cares? What if Carol realizes that, oh, by the way, you can be wherever you want in time and space, unless you're on another fucking planet or some astronomical distance that would prevent them from reading each other. There must be this permanent inbuilt kind of thing. We haven't even talked about if the hive has the ability to read Carol's mind, or the survivors' minds, the individuals' minds. We don't even know we don't even know if it's possible for Carolyn to read their minds, or through some kind of way, like when we get to that point. We don't quite, obviously that's not in the play today or explain now. It could be, but it just goes to the point of like how little we know. But I do suspect that there's no time or distance or space that the hive mind can do with Carol and her emotional reaction. And apparently, like, one severe reaction that Carol had, it killed 11 million people worldwide because of her outburst. So there are very hard tactical in physical manifestations of this psychic emotional link that has all of humanity now in what they call the joining. That's kind of the verbiage that's thrown around, but there's also the counterweight of the individual too. So I just think the funny part is that, like, I think that what if Carol, what's the limitations of Carol's power here? I mean, we've kind of flipped it upside down and kind of seen that, like, well, what does it matter? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if tomorrow, if they wanted to walk through the door, she would be gone. Obviously, there's some more rules at play here that prevent them from doing that, or they will do it, but they just have to do it in a way to, I don't know. There's no such thing as hiding in this thing. They're hiding a lot. But anyway, could kind of flip it on its head. Yeah, we know the hive mind. I know that. I know what their reach is. Kind of sort of don't know their limitations too. We're starting to investigate that. Don't know what Carol's limitations are, to kind of flip that power imbalance and see if there is a cost. The biggest thing I think that we have yet to see is the total cost. We've only got the tip of the iceberg for the cost of this whole world and what it means there. Not even to go into the bigger, higher level, Captain Obvious boulders, mountains of individuality versus collectivism, all that sort of thing, or like a collective, like human ants. That the hive mind are ants. They're just fucking ants. We don't even know if there's a queen, or normal hierarchy as we know it, or whatever. That's the other thing too. Couple fun sci-fi stories. If you like this kind of story and you want more, or you want something like it, you should go check out. The oh God, I can't think of his name. They made a Harrison Ford movie on it. Golly, what is that? Oh man, the war. Give me a moment, and I'll try to find it here. Um, Good. I can't think of it. Well, late 2010s. I'm gonna get the thing here of my Hammond and Han. All that is their Ender's Game. Excuse me, Ender's Game. Where it follows. Well, that's Orson Scott Card's fame. Anyway, great storyline for that. There's also, excuse me, Heinlein's a fifth estate or something like that, or fifth column, something like that. Excellent. A little bit older, hard science fiction book related to that. There are many great things like that where they take over the people. There's a famous there's famous invasion kind of things. This is a very soft invasion, very slow melding like a glacier, which is very interesting. But anyway, there's some analogs too that you can kind of go. They kind of analyze the collective perspective of a hive mind, versus the collective, and how that all works. That balance. It's just fascinating. Anyway, this has been about 30 minutes on Happy Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoy this. My musings, my 30-minute takedown on Pluribus Explained. Let me know if you like this and you want to hear more. I would love to do more of these. I have so many things that I haven't even touched the tip on, and I need to come a little bit better prepared than just doing this kind of ad hoc on a fun holiday where I just have time to passively think about these things. But anyway, what do you think? Do you think that Carol has limitations? Do you think that the time and space and the distance is that? I mean, obviously there's an immediate effect of like not being able for her to do that. That shows that they're very serious, and they want distance and space, and they want time. Some of these things echo like a bad breakup, which is even more funny. It just makes it even more relatable to the audience. But anyway, I've been ML. This has been the first lesson nerdum, and go check out that film, the Film Paradise one that I said. I'll put those in the show notes a little bit later on. Have fun. Peace out.